All right, welcome to another episode of the Bear Report podcast. As always, I am BlackBerry Brad from BearReport.com. As always, we are joined by Art from NerdBerry.net,
Hey y'all, how are y'all doing?
and we have a very special guest from BlackBerry. He is the Director of Software Product Management, Mr. Michael Clewley. How's it going, Michael?
Oh, it's pretty good. How's everyone doing this evening?
Not too bad.
Very well, thank you.
Greatly appreciate you joining us on the Bear Report podcast. It is a late night, so definitely thank you greatly for that.
Not a problem.
So go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, Michael. How long you've been in BlackBerry and what exactly your role entitles?
Yeah, no worries. So I joined RIM back in 2001. It was the end of 2001. So, about 15 and a half years at the company now. It's actually quite a bit of a funny story. I joined in the support department, fresh out of school, was really looking for a job. Tech bubble just sort of burst back then. And there was this place that a friend told me about, should really apply. They're hiring, lots of growth happening, et cetera, et cetera. So had the resume, and it was actually pretty cool because it was around the Halloween time frame, and the support center was doing a disco themed costume event. So all of my interviewers were all dressed up in different styles of disco events. So a very, very old memory from about 15 and a half years ago is how long I've been at the company. And since then, I've done application development support, technical product management for the very, very early Java APIs on BlackBerry OS, and then moved into supporting all of our Java-based products, BlackBerry 10, doing product management for that, Playbook OS, and then, of course, our Android-based products, and really bringing those to market. So huge legacy at BlackBerry for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you're one of the long-standing employees for.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, I've been there for quite some time. So these days, spending the bulk of my time supporting our licensee partners, those who have licensed the BlackBerry brand and BlackBerry software solution from us and our software, supporting them, getting going, making sure that we meet the timelines that are required, helping through manage all of that interaction and the partner engagement, and supporting our partners be successful. So that's what I'm focused on these days.
Great. Of course, one of the questions we always ask, what phone are you using?
Well, got my Q1 here. Absolutely love this phone. I've always had a bit of a soft spot for our keyboard-based products. Again, being very long time at the company, loved my 950. But of course, as time goes on, you got the keyboard, but the screen sizes were always small, and that was my big trouble. So I started using some all-touch devices, and the BlackBerry keyboard's great, but I was always struggling with some of the smaller words, the simple language, the casual language, the miscorrections, things like that. No matter how good the software is, it always didn't meet my expectations from the autocorrect standpoint, and everyone struggles with autocorrect out there. So it was always hard, and I kind of had a love affair with the Z30 for a very long time. The DTEC 60 was sort of the replacement to that, which was equally as held a special place in my heart. But I have to say, Passport was one of those phones, great screen size, that physical keyboard that you could just move like butter on. Maybe you're not as fast as an all-touch, but the accuracy was there, and that's really why I like my Q1. Is the accuracy. I am fast enough to use the product, and it's actually got a huge screen on it as well. which is why I really like this product. So that's what I'm using, and that's sort of been my long history in terms of coming with the devices and what I really liked in the past and where I've sort of landed. So I'm really glad, we worked on this product for a very long time in different iterations, and so glad that TCL was actually bringing this product out and launch it under the BlackBerry Mobile brand.
Yeah, the Key One, we all know that was kind of a device that was floating in the world of BlackBerry for many years and just never got pushed out. And it's great to see TCL get a hold of this device and put a little bit of their own touch on it, and then make sure it stays true to that BlackBerry brand. And I know I'm loving. Art actually just got his. What do you think of the BlackBerry Key One?
I ended up getting mine on Thursday, and you want to talk about nostalgia? Oh my goodness! Going from the Pixel to the Key One, hands down, awesome device. I am so impressed with the keyboard, the layout, everything about it. I think at the end of the day, the main thing for me was the screen size. Michael, you hit on how awesome the Passport was. The Passport was like my go-to everyday daily driver for everything. And since the Passport, I had moved on to the Pixel XL, and Pixel XL was nice. I keep my Priv all the time on me, and when I had the opportunity to get the Key One, as soon as I picked it up, I was like, I'm in love. I don't need anything else. We're good to go. There's nothing I can't say that's bad about the device all around. It's just perfect.
No, yeah. I'm really happy that you have that opinion of it, and glad you've started using it and get that nostalgia feel, but sort of that modern aspect and take on everything for sure.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So I mean, I'll ask everybody. Michael, what's your favorite feature of the Key One?
Honestly, it is that physical keypad. It's that accuracy. It's being able to message something confidently. It's when I pick it up, it's just feels so good in the hand. That nice textured back. Very grippable, very usable. It looks like a great device. And I don't know about you, Art. I don't know if you've noticed it just yet, but the battery life, it just keeps going.
I can't complain about the battery life. Matter of fact, I was running a test on it today to kind of see, where I stood on it, and I unplugged. Looks like 14 hours ago, and I plugged in for 30 minutes to try that battery boost, and it boosted from, I want to say it was like 46% up to like 62%, I think is what it was. So right now, that's the only time I plugged in. And it shows I have 11 hours left. I don't know if you guys can see it or if the screen's too bright, but 11 hours left. Mind is blown when it comes to battery life. I miss battery life. This is huge for BlackBerry. This is huge for TCL. I'm just excited. I really am.
Yeah, that battery. I mean, I think it's a tie between the physical keyboard and the battery life. I mean, anytime I'm around somebody that says, "Oh, my phone's dying," I just feel bad now because I have this Key One here, and I'm like, I haven't charged my phone for a day, and you're 4 hours into your work day, and you're charging your phone already. So I mean, it speaks. We talked about Art talked about nostalgia. I mean, do you remember back in the day for older BlackBerry devices? Some of us are crazy BlackBerry users where we had 4 batteries with us every day, but
most definitely.
But I mean, those batteries lasted throughout the day, and I mean, it's different hardware, different software, different technology, but it's kind of reminds you of the old BlackBerry devices that just wouldn't die throughout the day, and it's a great feeling. I think that's my favorite feature on this device.
Yeah, absolutely. So, BlackBerry Mobile's picked on the right tagline for this product, which is do more, and great for them to do that with the technology that it has, combined with all of the tried and true BlackBerry experiences on the product. So,
all right, so yeah, BlackBerry's been in the Android world for a few years now. You've done development with Android for BlackBerry. What's been the toughest challenge that you guys have faced coming from BlackBerry OS to BlackBerry 10 to developing BlackBerry for Android?
I think for us, it's again, long time at the company. Been there for dog's years, right? So it's for anyone who's followed the company for many years. It's for me personally, it was that one more transition, right? We went from BBOS to BB10 and BB10 to Android. So it was exciting, but it was a lot of work at the same time, and making sure that, of course, we keep everyone happy while trying to transition. Always very, very difficult. So it's really the business side for me personally, and the optics of what we're trying to do to make a successful product. I really think here that what we've built on Android with our BlackBerry Secure solution built into the Android software, all of the hardening, all of the security, all of our productivity on top of that is, a great combination, and something that makes it very, very BlackBerry. So very excited about that. For me, it was really the journey trying to get here with, a lot of the history and the things that had happened with the company.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely has been a great adjustment from BlackBerry 10, BlackBerry OS to the Android realm, and bringing different features from the older OSs into BlackBerry Android. What's a feature that you guys have brought over that you were excited that we can experience on BlackBerry Android?
Well, it goes across the board. Obviously, there's a BlackBerry Hub, which I'm a huge user of that experience on the product itself. I spend hours a day in there for both personal email and work email. Just the ability to see everything, triage everything, quickly reply to everything, all that sort of stuff. That's sort of where myself, and I know a lot of the power BlackBerry users sort of live and die by, right? And then, you take a product like Key1, which is very BlackBerry, the physical keyboard. It's the shortcut capabilities that you could do, the actions built into the launcher and the home screen. Those quick things that are very, very BlackBerry help you sort of shave those seconds and minutes off of the actions that you're trying to perform. So those are the things that we always try to keep in mind when we build something, not only security, productivity, convenience, etc.
Yeah, the BlackBerry Hub is probably one of my favorite features that has come over from BlackBerry 10. Still, and for instance, I mean, the BlackBerry Hub still has that reminiscence of the old BlackBerry message application that was on the BBOS devices, and I'm sure a lot of that came from that portion of the OS. But yeah, I mean, what's a BlackBerry feature that you guys just haven't figured out how to bring over that you're dying to figure out?
Well, our product guys are very, very busy bringing in a lot of new content and new features. So, of course, all roadmap, can't generally speak to it. I'd say the one thing, and I'm going to get in trouble with my product guys now, but hey, that's what happens sometimes. The one thing that I truly, truly miss probably from BlackBerry 10 is that more simplistic conversation view and triage style. So, throw back to BlackBerry 10. When you're in a conversation, you see all your messages listed out. You know what's in there, easy see. On Android, they went more kind of what a lot of the mail clients are doing with these bubbled sort of messages, grouped messages, and things like that. Maybe it's just the old school in me, but that's the one thing I truly miss from BlackBerry 10 was seeing just a list of your emails in a conversation and being able to triage inside the conversation itself quite quickly.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I miss with BlackBerry 10 or BlackBerry OS days is, I was doing this on my Key1 because I recently came from was spending a little time on the Classic, and I was in the hub, and with BlackBerry 10 and BlackBerry OS, you just hit the D button and it would start deleting messages for you. I started doing that on the Key1. It's like, oh, I can't do that, and it's just one of those triage features that kind of, made it simple to kind of go through the emails or messages you have in the hub. But,
Yeah,
sure.
Classic was nice, for that focus highlight. So you could just sort of scroll over something and action it that way. On Android, we have the swipe to delete. And I actually, the one tweak I make is I change, I go, I guess right to left is my delete, and left to right is swipe to unread or read. So I find those tweaks for me personally really help get the most out of triaging my inbox. And then of course, once you're in a message, the physical keyboard again, and this is throwback to BBOS style stuff, but using the keyboard shortcuts to action email, right? So I for file, R for reply, L for reply all, F for forward, delete key to delete that, N and P for next and previous. Those are the things that, really shine on a product like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's great seeing all those keyboard shortcuts come back. Especially I love, the if I'm in a web browser, for instance, and I just go up and down the page, I can hit the space bar to go down. And most of the web browsers will let you hit T and you go right back up to the top of the page. And that, those keyboard shortcut features are something that are legendary with BlackBerry devices, and then no other platform can ever, compete with that. Just keeping your flowing throughout your day, and you're flowing throughout your daily tasks that you're trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I've got a question that was that we talked about, Brad and I did. I guess back in 2014, you had a BBM channel that was quite popular, and I've looked for it, can't find it. So is there something that we should know about there? Or?
I found it just difficult to stay up with the channel. Keeping sort of the posts active and current. I liked the opportunity to sort of share some of the roadmap stuff. Wasn't doing that as much anymore with a lot of the stuff going on. It was hard to always reply to people on the channel. And I mean, those were the big things. It was just, there was a lot of different social avenues out there, and I had a lot of people coming at me different ways, and I just needed to personally streamline that to get a bit of that work-life balance.
That definitely understandable there. I completely understand that. So do you plan on bringing back a channel at any given time, or have you thought about it? Or
I've thought about it here and there. I'm just, again, back to the reason why I left. I'm just a little bit nervous that, I won't serve the audience as well as I could. It was getting to the point where, a lot of sort of unhappy people with the lack of posts, or they didn't like the content that was being posted and things like that. So it was hard to, and, for me, BBM is that instant channel. So if something comes through, you want to action it. And sometimes you just couldn't, and sometimes it was disheartening. So it put you in the mood and things like that. So it was, it was hard to focus on that as a sort of a reach out method where, as you know, I'm also somewhat active on Twitter. That for me felt like it was a little bit more passive, where I could, leave the office, put Twitter down for a moment, and then come back to it the next morning. Whereas BBM, again, being on your phone, always there, I'm always in BBM having conversations. Sure. So to see that channel stuff come in that was related, it was just too much for me personally.
I understand that completely, definitely. I'm sure Brad can attest and agree with that one as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've been trying to do my BBM channel. I try to run like 3 of them, and I can barely do one. So just finding the time to run BBM channels and everything else, social network, Twitter,
definitely.
Facebook, keeping up with everything, personal, work related. And it's hard, but I'm guessing you're still on BBM. You're still using it actively.
Oh yeah, I still have 150 plus contacts, whatever. It's my main messaging application. It's what I use all the time for messaging. So.
Awesome.
And this is the moment of the show where Michael gives out his BBM pin for everyone.
Nice try.
So I always have been wondering this for a little bit of time. What's the morale like at BlackBerry? You know, we've all seen the news. We all seen the struggles that BlackBerry's going through. They're on the comeback. I mean, it's really well for BlackBerry as far as software-wise, Android OS, licensing with BlackBerry devices, going into the Internet of Things, connected, you know, making sure that stuff's secure. What's the overall spirit over at BlackBerry like these days?
Yeah, you know, very positive, of course. We are in that big turnaround that John keeps talking about. There's lots of opportunities in the enterprise space with our solution there, with the rebrand of UEM back in the beginning of the year. We have big news happening in IoT with BlackBerry Radar, of course, and QNX in the connected car. And then from the mobile solution space is that, you know, big transition that we've been talking about for a very long time now, with our first licensee happening back in September of 2016 with BB Maraputi, and then of course on to TCL, and then with Optimus this year as well. So a lot of exciting things happening, and very positive. Lots of good energy happening. Very good environment these days.
Yeah, it's always glad. I mean, like I said, they're in that comeback stage and they're rebuilding, and I you know, they're getting to where they need to be as far as the company goes, and it's nice to see the morale is still good. I mean, I'm sure it's always been good for, you know, past. I mean, it's probably been up and down a little bit here and there, but you know, from what I understand, BlackBerry is such a great company to work for throughout the years.
Yeah, it's been great. You know, a lot of ups and downs, as everyone external can see, but it's probably not too much different from other companies that have their downturns and upturns as well. So, you know, you go with it, but still having a lot of fun, still enjoy what I do at the company, and it's a great experience and very, very positive about what's happening now at the company and the direction that we're taking.
Yeah, that's definitely great to see. You talked a little bit earlier about you guys, how you're involved with the getting Android OS onto the BlackBerry devices with the licensing partners. Any way you can speak a little bit upon that, or what kind of the overall some of the process is?
Yeah, so you know, myself and my team is essentially responsible for working with the partner. We essentially get their roadmap and what they would like to do. We work with them on the schedules and the planning of that, what the software solutions are going to look like. I work with our product teams on helping to realize some of that and plan it out, working through the timelines, and then of course work with the partner itself on the actual execution phase of the product, beta testing, getting it through all of the software quality and things like that, making sure that the partner is adhering to, you know, our BlackBerry brand guidelines and quality guidelines and things like that, because we want to make sure that a product built represents the BlackBerry brand and that customers who go and buy a BlackBerry are know what they're getting. So working with the partner in things like that, and you know, it's pretty exciting stuff because you get to see their portfolio and their roadmap and work through the devices and all the new software features and functionality.
Yeah, that's really exciting that you guys are working. I mean, how much does a company like TCL or have in say of what the software? I mean, I know BlackBerry controls the Android OS software, but do they have any say of if we would like to see this in the software? Or
It's a very collaborative approach. You know, they're a great company to work with. They have some really great ideas. They have smart people. We have smart people. It's really bringing ideas together. You know, there's a little bit of the education on, hey, this is a great idea. BlackBerry users expect sort of it to behave this way, so why don't you tweak it and it'll fit into the BlackBerry solution that way, and so on and so forth. So, you know, a lot of good collaboration between us and the partners for sure.
Now, for instance, a feature like the we saw in the BlackBerry Aurora, that it has its own camera application built into that. Is that something that BlackBerry worked on? Or is that something that BB Putai worked on with you?
Yeah, so you know, BB Maraputi, my first introduction with them when I had traveled to Indonesia last year, the thing that I was told is Indonesia is the country of selfies. So having a good camera experience and a good consumer experience like that, obviously very, very important to them. So we worked with them to make sure that their ODM, who was building the phone, was providing a good camera experience for the product.
Very cool.
So one of the questions that we had in the chat that we have going on here is so with the BlackBerry Priv, they had the swipe up features inside the Priv, and they're not there on the Key One. Is that more of a just feature with the Key One, or is that a limitation with the Key One, or is that just something we?
Yeah, on the Priv, the DTEC 50, DTEC 60, the Android keys are actually on-screen keys, right? So you can do things like the press and the hold and things like that, whereas they are not virtual on Key One itself. So you couldn't offer that sort of swipe capability that you had on previous products on the Key One.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, it's a feature that was there, was nice to have there, but I mean, honestly, it's not a really too big of a feature that I'm missing. It kind of gave you that BlackBerry 10 feel, if that's what you're going for, but to me, it's not too big of a miss with that.
Yeah, there's so many different ways to, you know, launch applications on the product, and given the fact that Key One has that physical keyboard with the keyboard shortcuts, you know, you kind of have that replacement of that swipe functionality in the Key One built right into it with that always there physical keyboard.
Yeah, it's great that those keyboard shortcuts come in such handy, and it's so nice to have those things. I personally can't find enough. I haven't programmed all 52 shortcuts yet because I'm like, what do I put here? I'm trying to keep everything alphabetical, and it's not happening. Speaking of, so you guys have kind of dived into other Android OS platforms with the BlackBerry Hub Plus suite. We've noticed the BlackBerry Hub's in there, BlackBerry Contacts, but there is no BlackBerry DTEC app. Is that more of a limitation on not being able to get into the software side on those devices, or is that just something that we haven't gotten to yet in the roadmap?
Yeah, you know, what I'd say to that is there's some experiences, obviously, that you can offer on top of a solution that's already there. And then there's some things that, you know, really need that deep integration experience and changes to really take advantage of it. And the DTEC app by BlackBerry is something that's integrated into our BlackBerry Secure Android offering. And, you know, we build in a lot of lower level hooks and controls into the platform and the OS itself. So it's not something that you could just take the APK file itself and throw it on a non-BlackBerry Android product and expect the same set of features and functions and functionality, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, and that's just one of those selling features for a BlackBerry Android device that you just probably wouldn't want to put on another Android device.
I've got one that wasn't on the the list that we sent. But I wanted to ask a lot of people when the Prev first came out. A lot of people were asking Brad and I both, where's the native file manager? You know, is BlackBerry going to port over a native file manager to Android? And, you know, I don't know where you guys are at on that or if that's even coming. I know there's plenty of other, you know, solutions there, but I know with the Key One there, you know, you've got a little bit of an integrated deal there, but it's not what I would call BlackBerry. That's more Android based. So I was kind of wanted to hit on that, if that's something you can talk about or touch on.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that we looked at really hard when we made that BlackBerry 10 to Android cutover was leveraging the ecosystem, right? Obviously, there were a lot of changes in the company at the time. BlackBerry was focusing. We wanted to make sure from an application standpoint that we were focusing on the things that mattered to the broad base of users. Our productivity, our security, the tried and true BlackBerry type functionality. And, you know, we have had some feedback that File Manager is somewhat important to users. It is something that we continue to talk about over time. Obviously, no spoilers and don't want to promise or overpromise anything. But you know, there is a huge ecosystem out there. We wanted to make sure that we were focusing on what was important and what we could pull off in good quality with the right feature set.
Sure, that's fair enough. Fair enough.
I just want to know if we'll ever see a bedside mode for BlackBerry Android. That's probably for any BlackBerry feature. It was on BlackBerry OS, BlackBerry 10. I don't have it in BlackBerry 10. I know we have the Do Not Disturb mode, that's pretty much more of a Google feature, but nothing beat bedside mode when it was
not at all
in its prime.
Yeah, I think you know where we're at the moment is we're trying to focus on sort of the two areas that we're focusing on are, if we're going to make changes in the platform, they're going to be more centered around our hardening, our security, and securing the solution, whether it's, you know, privacy or certifications or enterprise control and management. And then it's sort of the on the top layer where, you know, what are the apps and other on the top user experiences can we bring to the table? We're trying to stay out of the middle spot of Android where we over customize Android. That was one of those upfront, again, decisions that we made in Android. We want an as close to possible stock experience as Android out there, so that it was good for users. And at the end of the day, it also helps, you know, do patches faster and up rev to Android versions faster. So the less meddling you do in Android, generally the better, and then add your on the top stuff from that perspective.
Makes total sense to me.
Cool. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to talk about this or anything, but we've noticed that the BlackBerry Priv, BlackBerry Detect, the older BlackBerry devices, haven't seen any type of notation or mention of getting an Android 7.1 update. Again, I don't know if you can talk about this, but is that in the works? Is that being discussed? Is there something that's holding it back?
Well, as you know, we're still very dedicated to the monthly security patch updates for the BlackBerry Priv product. We just actually put out this month's security patches for that product. So still continue to patch Priv per our commitment from that perspective. And then, of course, we really want to make sure that we're successful in supporting our licensee partners build on their products and bring them to market. So, you know, we're trying to make sure that we're doing all the right things and continue to move forward.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's you know, great to see that those monthly security patches are coming through and those. So, I mean, the way the monthly security patches work, we should be seeing those for each product at the same exact time, around the same time, or is it where you have to develop a little bit for the Priv, to develop a little bit more for DTech and the Key One?
They're all generally in around the same time. In sometimes depending on the product, depending on what the Google Bulletin was that month, some require a little bit more than the other to do, and then there's the test cycle on top of that. So we've generally had a pretty great track record of doing our SMRs for the 3 products specifically. We continue to push that going forward.
Yeah, it's great to see. That's again one of my favorite features. I have a Galaxy S7 sitting right here in front of me, and that thing hasn't seen an update since November of 2016, and that's just a scary thought of there's other Android devices out there that haven't seen any type of security update, let alone a full software update, and I think it's still one of the best features that BlackBerry is committed to bringing that monthly security update to their customers, and it's great to see that they still are, with the Priv, with the DTech, and with the Key One in the future, and other BlackBerry devices in the future.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things that was very important to us from the get-go of when we went to Android. We know we wanted to make sure that we had a top-end, high security solution for that space. All of the kernel hardening, all of the things that we do in Android, very, very important, and it's key to the overall solution. But it's just as important to stay on top of security and be vigilant. So that's why we launched the product, we made the commitment, and we're very excited that our partners are behind that commitment as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, like I said, it's a great feature to have. All right, anything else? Anything you got over there?
I think we've pretty much covered it all, man.
Let's see what we got in the questions here in the chat. We just got a couple wish lists. People are looking for BlackBerry file managers over there. Let's see what else they're looking for. People said they love their passport. They love that physical keyboard on the passport. And I know this has been asked many times to other BlackBerry employees, but passport with an Android experience, I know that's probably something that we probably would never see, but because that's all limitation on Android, right? That's not limitation on BlackBerry.
Yeah, I think Android has really great support, as we all know, for a 16:9 screen resolution or screen ratio. Sorry. They also, per their compliance document, support 4:3 and 3:2, which is what the Key One is. Beyond that, it's super hard to get the right level of support from that. And for anyone who has a passport and was running some Android apps, there was definitely some quirky experiences from time to time with the layout not being correct and things like that. So it's maybe over time, as Android moves more and more into that one-to-one space with wearable technology and things like that, who knows? But today, sort of the 16:9 and 3:2 aspect ratios are the king for sure.
Yeah, I mean, here's another question I have. How closely does BlackBerry work with Google as far as with the Android experience and what you guys are implementing with BlackBerry Android?
Obviously, we listen to their roadmap. We want to make sure that we're aligning to what their roadmap is, but we also have our roadmap and build-in features that are important to BlackBerry, important to either our security DNA from a protection and privacy standpoint or from a manageability standpoint, and then also look at what are those important convenience and productivity type features as well.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Also, so in the chat, you're probably not going to speak about this either, but BlackBerry blend feature for Android, was that?
I was wondering if that was going to come up.
Oh, that always comes up with a BlackBerry question.
We'll just say no comments on that. And I know a lot of people have asked about that, especially during the launch of Priv many moons ago. But we'll let that one go for now.
I mean, what's your all-time favorite BlackBerry device?
Oh man, it's like a true techno geek and phone geek. It's always the next one that's always the best one, right? They just keep getting better and better over time. But in the top three, no particular order, is probably Key One, Z30, DTEC 60 in there. Passport's close to it. I just, that big screen and the keyboard. Sometimes the portability of it wasn't the best. You had this big square in your jeans, but it was a great productivity, a great workhorse product as well. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I always just say all BlackBerry devices were my favorite devices, but it's too long of a list to list. But yeah, those are great. And Z30 was probably one of my favorite all touchscreen BlackBerry devices. I mean, we had so few before we had the Android world come into us, but the Z30 was if that was the last BlackBerry 10 device with a full touchscreen, well, one of the last BlackBerry 10 devices with full touchscreen, that was probably the best that was out there, and so user friendly. So that also had a great battery life to it. I mean, that's
absolutely.
It did. Yeah, I use that product for a very long time before finally switching to Passport. So as I said, it does hold a special place in my heart for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's with anybody with BlackBerry 10 devices and just a BlackBerry 10 OS that had such a we won't go into the why or how or why it didn't work or anything like that, but BlackBerry 10 is such a great platform that we all love and has a special place in every BlackBerry user's hearts, I think, including the devices as well.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure one day it'll make a great book for sure.
I'm sure someone's writing that book somewhere. I think Michael's actually writing the book. He's not telling us.
I'm not that creative, so.
Someone did want to know if the pictures behind you were taken by BlackBerry devices.
It's a good question.
No. I mean, great question. But for those of you who do follow me from time to time, I am sort of hobbyist photographer, so I do have to say those were taken with proper kit, proper glass, my Canon 6D, and actually all of those were taken with my 100mm macro lens, which is unbelievably sharp. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I just started getting into the high def cameras and upgraded my camera technology, and it's expensive hobby to have, but it's fun to have.
It is. It's very expensive, but it's very fun. The camera on Key One is actually quite good, and it was quite funny. I had a very long chat with a local friend quite recently about a good DSLR versus a smartphone camera. And 2 years ago, he was a big DSLR fan, but he says that cell phones are just good. And it wasn't an argument on photo quality versus phones versus a proper camera. It was more around the convenience of having your cell phone on you all the time versus having, your bag with your lenses and all that sort of stuff. So yeah. I get it. Cell phone cameras are great from that perspective, and there's some really good technology out there that can be embedded into phones and things like that. But I know off topic, but hey, I love my DSLR for sure.
Yeah, they're great cameras. I just got a Rebel T6i, so that's been
nice.
newest toy as of late. Getting some great photos of the Key One. But yeah, the Key One camera is, it's the best camera we've seen on a BlackBerry device come through, the sensor wise. As far as the BlackBerry Key One camera app or the Android application, how big of a importance is that to you guys as far as a feature in BlackBerry Android OS?
That's probably an area that I think we would like to see our partners do more innovation in. Obviously, from a BlackBerry standpoint, we want sort of the guidelines to be there in terms of the look and the feel and what users may or may not expect from it. But this is an area where I think over time, our partners and the licensees are really going to start to innovate and bring up some cool stuff that you'll see in the camera experience. So,
good deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely I really have no problems with it. There's some settings that some people complain that there's no raw photo feature that in there, but I'm sure there's a lot of these features that we're looking at right now that can come through software updates and such.
For sure, yeah.
All right, so I have nothing else to ask Michael over here, but Art, do you have anything over there?
I think we've pretty much covered everything. I think we hit it pretty good. Is there any more questions that we need to go over?
No, that's as far as what we send over to Michael. As far as we can start asking other questions, but there are questions he can't talk about. So
yeah, absolutely. We could have an all-night conversation on some of those questions. I'll tell you.
Yeah,
I'm sure y'all love to try.
Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
If you want to share any BlackBerry roadmaps for any TCL or anybody, feel free to let us know. Or do you have any good John Chen stories?
I do not. No, I don't.
He's probably one of my favorite CEOs as far as in the realms of CEOs. John Chen is for one, what he's done with BlackBerry, and anytime I've had any close interaction with him, he's always had a good spirit to him.
By far,
Great.
Definitely.
All right, Michael.
He's done a lot of great things for the company. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, Michael, we definitely appreciate you stopping by the Bear Report podcast and letting us ask you a few questions about the BlackBerry Android OS, and definitely appreciate your time. I'll be sure to send you over a bearreport.com t-shirt when I get a new order in.
Looking forward to it. And anytime, guys, appreciated spending some time with you tonight. Always glad to talk to you guys, reach out to the base and talk to them and try and answer some questions.
We definitely appreciate it for sure, Michael.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you for joining us, and we'll reach out to you in the future and get some more tidbit on hopefully Android O on the BlackBerry Key One down the pipeline.
Roadmaps are great stuff, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. Embargoes are great. Yep. Well, thank you for tuning in to the Bear Report podcast, everybody. My name is BlackBerry Brad. Feel free to follow me on Twitter at blackberrybrad.com. Make sure you subscribe to the bearreporter.com YouTube channel. Art, where can people find you?
Nerdberry.com. On Twitter, you can hit us up at Nerdberry. Just heck, you can BBM me too using Nerdberry.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us, and everybody have a great night.